Just this is a test of the.
Oh, hi, David.
Well, great to see you again. How are you? Meeting my family. This is my son, Robbie Gross. This is my wife, Betsy Gross, the best wife in the world. This is my wonderful mother.
How are you?
Wonderful.
My mother-in-law, Gifford. My brother. This is my hero, my father. This is my brother-in-law, Bill Gifford. From my wife. Thank you. This is what happens when you yes. All right. Where would you like us? Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Secretary, I hope someday
That's great. I'm not going to let that.
You know that's you.
We actually discussed that on the airplane. To California. I sat across the California.
Very happy with where I am.
Our hopes are yes. Very good. There we go. Okay.
So if the family could follow
Stay
Gracia.
International Communications and Information Policy with the rank of Ambassador. Accompanying Ambassador Gross today are his wife Betsy, his son Robbie, his parents Robbie and Ellie Gross, his brother John Henry, his mother-in-law Gertrude Gifford, and his brother-in-law Bill Gifford, and several other family members. Please give a warm welcome to our participants and special guests. The Honorable Colin Powell, Secretary of State, will begin our ceremony with remarks and then administer the oath of office to our new ambassador. Once Ambassador Gross takes the oath of office, he will deliver remarks and then sign his official appointment papers. At the conclusion of the ceremony, we will have the opportunity to congratulate Ambassador Gross in a receiving line in front of the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce the Secretary of State of the United States.
It's a very pleasure to welcome you all here today to the, we like to call the historic Ben Franklin room. It isn't that historic, it isn't that old, first of all. It is one of the most beautiful rooms in all of Washington, and we reserve it for very special occasions such as this. We also have the most fabulous dinners you've ever seen in this room, and it's also connected, of course, to the other diplomatic rooms of the Department of State. And for those of you who may never have been here before, I hope that in the course of the next few minutes or so, after these ceremonies are over, you will wander around, look at Thomas Jefferson's desk, look at all the other things that are here that are so glorious and such a powerful representation of our history and our legacy and our tradition. And for those of you who got here early and are drinking, don't spill anything on my rug. It really is my pleasure today to swear in with the rank of Ambassador David Gross. As many of you know, David has been doing a terrific job already for over a year as the U.S. Coordinator for International Communications and Information Policy. His extensive experience and impressive insights into this fast-moving field has served him well and our country exceptionally well. Usually, President Bush sends our ambassadors to faraway places. In this case, we are sending David to a close-in phenomenon, the information revolution. And David has pioneered telecommunications and information issues from inside as well as outside government. He's extremely regarded and highly regarded and very well networked. His private sector experience spans America and the rest of the world. And he's developed excellent relationships with many other communications policymakers in town, which I'm sure will serve him very, very well. There is one information policymaker in Washington who is the guy that he's going to work more closely with than even his own boss, and that's the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, who I'm not sure has been able to make it here today, but Chairman Michael Powell. I think his mom told me he had to come home or something. I think James said he had to go get milk for the baby, right? But I'm very pleased that David will be working closely with Chairman Powell, my son, and between the two of them, they ought to really either get us in trouble or keep us out of trouble. I hear, however, that David and his son, Robbie, have a lot in common with Michael and me when it comes to who the true webmasters are in the family. And Robbie, I suspect that you may be the real source of your father's most penetrating internet analysis. I have learned years ago that whenever I have a problem, just go get not even my son Michael, but my grandson Jeffrey, who is 12 years old and knows more than either Michael or I do about how to get on the internet and how to surf it. I also suspect, David, that the reason you've been able to accomplish so much in your career and devote so much to your community and to your country is because your wife, Betsy, has given you both her constant love, her understanding, and her support. I know that Betsy has been backed up by the rest of your family who are here today, and only a few were introduced. There are several hundred other grosses around the world. But I think it is appropriate for us at this time to pause and express our appreciation once again to the entire Gross family. Thank you. The position of U.S. coordinator carries far-reaching responsibilities for our nation and for the world, but it is not always a job that is well understood within this building or in the government at large. But few jobs are more important, and few are more interesting to me personally. I am now Secretary of State, but before coming back into government, among the other opportunities I had was to serve on the board of America Online. And in that capacity, I got better understanding of what the telecommunications revolution is all about, and gives me, I think, a perspective on how important David's job is. David's mission is nothing less than fostering the development of a global information economy that is more interconnected, more efficient, more open, and more inclusive than ever before. Inclusive in the sense it is not just something for the privileged. It is something we have to drive down to those nations that are greatly in need, to those parts of our own country that are greatly in need of access to the information revolution. We can help fix the problem of poverty. We can help fix the problem of education if we take advantage of the opportunities that exist in the information revolution. As U.S. coordinator, David is at the nexus of the 23 federal agencies involved in international communications and information policy, and a key link between the government and private industry. He must ensure that America's broader foreign policy and national security interests are fully integrated into the positions our government takes within the International Telecommunications Union and other relevant international bodies. The President and I will also look to David to work with foreign governments to reform their information and communications policies and to reform their regulatory regimes to ensure that there is fair competition between nations and competition that our companies can participate in on a fair basis. Over the last decade, the exponential advance of information technology has changed the business of doing business. Exciting new possibilities have opened for countries large and small, near and far, to contribute to and benefit from an expanding world economy. And what undergirds it all is a great global telecommunications web. The future prosperity of all nations, not least the United States, depends on continued global expansion of this network. And that is why President Bush and I are depending on David and his team to help foreign governments adapt to the changed business environment. We seek to help developing nations, as I said earlier, speed the deployment of technologies that will make their participation in a growing information-based economy possible. In short, David's job is simultaneously to expand the international communications technology pie and give more people the opportunity to partake of that pie. Today, the number of internet users worldwide is estimated to exceed over 500 million people. Roughly 40% of them live here in the United States, and there are more telephone landlines in America than in all of Africa. So the challenge is clear. The work that David is involved in is vital, so very vital, not only for America's sake, but for the sake of the world, for the sake of developed and developing countries alike. The developing world's access to communications has to improve dramatically and has to improve rapidly. There are encouraging signs that our emphasis on fostering liberalization, fostering competition, and fostering privatization in the telecommunications field is having an effect in the developing world. In Uganda, for example, price war has broken out in the competitive telecommunications sector. Costs per minute on telephone calls are falling, tumbling, and some firms are scrapping fees altogether. One mobile operator recently slashed fees for international calls by half. And when you do that, that means more and more Ugandan entrepreneurs will be able to find an affordable niche in the global economy. But we can do better, and we must do better to expand digital opportunity all around the world. David not only represents our interest in the information age, he also advances our values. One of the most important of these is democratization. Through our electronic government initiative, we are helping developing countries become more open, more transparent, more accountable, more accessible, so that they can better serve their citizens, and their citizens get a better idea of what their governments are doing. Innovative telecommunications technologies also are helping developing countries meet their pressing economic, social, and health needs. For example, they help create marketing outlets for micro-enterprise, and they reach patients and students in remote locations through telemedicine and distance learning programs. In November, representatives from over 25 developing and middle-income countries will gather here at the department for a major conference on the unprecedented opportunities that e-government can open, and I look forward to welcoming them and watching them work under David's leadership and supervision. Our ultimate objective in the international telecommunications technology sector, as it is in other areas, is to create a more democratic, prosperous, and henceforth a more peaceful world. That is our goal, that is our objective, that is our dream. And the President and I look to David and his team to play an important part in achieving that dream. And David, on behalf of the President, on behalf of all of your colleagues, not only in the department, but in industry and all the other departments of government we're represented here, we thank you for your willingness to take on this important job. And we wish you and Betsy and Robbie all the very, very best as you once again step up to the challenge of serving your nation and serving the American people. And now, sir, if you are ready, I'm ready to admit you to the oath. Thank you. I, David A. Gross, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. Bassett.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you all.
very short because there's food to be eaten and the Secretary has important affairs of states to get to. A couple of things that I want to touch on. First of all, you all. I thank you all very, very much for coming to this. You are my family. Some of you are blood family. Some of you are people I've married into the family. Some of you are my telecommunications family. And some of you are my State Department family. But you're all my family. And I appreciate so very, very much your coming. I also want to recognize, as the Secretary kindly did, my parents, my mother and my father, who are just as important to me as anything in the world, if not more so. My mother-in-law, who is the best mother-in-law a guy could ever have. And most importantly, my wife and my son, who not only are wonderful, as the Secretary was so gracious enough to recognize, but also put up with my schedule not only now, but in the past as well. And it's because of them that I'm able to have the honor to do what I'm doing today and in the days to come. One of the reasons, and there are many reasons why I was so excited to be able, and so honored to be able to take this position, is something that the Secretary said when he was nominated by the President to be Secretary of State. And this was back in December of 2000, when so much was unknown. And he said, and for those of you who have been in my office, which is just about everybody here, I think, at one time or another, you know that I keep on my coffee table, right where everybody sits, a copy of what the Secretary said when he was nominated. And I do that for a number of reasons, not least of which is to curry favor with the Secretary. But also because of what he said. At the very beginning what he said, it's almost eerie in how prescient it was. He said, Mr. President-elect, this is before the swearing in, of course, during your administration, you'll be faced with many challenges and crises that we don't know anything about right now will come along. But I believe that these challenges and these crises will pale in comparison to the wonderful opportunities that await us. And he goes on to talk about 4 fundamental opportunities, one of which is particularly near and dear to my heart and that the Secretary touched on. He says, quote, opportunities that will come to us because of the information and technology revolutions that are reshaping the world as we know it, destroying political boundaries and all kinds of other boundaries, as we are able to move information capital, data around the world at the speed of light, able to move knowledge around the world at the speed of light. That, in a nutshell, is why I am so extraordinarily honored to be here today, to serve the Secretary, to serve the President, and to be with you all. And with that, I thank you all very much for coming, and please enjoy the food. You're not on the